I'd like to call the meeting to order, please.
We have a roll call.
Elsley.
Here.
Dobb.
Here.
Hare.
Here.
Herman.
Here.
Kaufman.
Here.
Newhouse.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to
Chief.
Last week was Police Memorial Week, and always this time of the year we honor our volunteers, and that being our auxiliary police force, for the time that they put in to assist our community. Back in 2004, there became a Presidential Volunteer Service Award, and since then we've been honoring those members of our auxiliary group that contribute 100 hours or more of their time for our community. So right now I have 8 of 10 that completed that last year here with us to present their awards for 2012.
You can read the names.
First is Roger Evans, who volunteered 108 hours.
Roger, thanks so much. My pleasure. We're going to have paper pens in this, baby.
Next, Dave Gamber volunteered 113 hours.
Can't move too quick or he'll make us do it again.
Next, Todd Glasscock volunteered 141 hours. Next, Ken Lopez, who volunteered 141 and a half hours.
Just couldn't do that last 30 minutes.
Next, Art Netherton, who volunteered 190 hours. Bill Sneed, who volunteered 114 hours. Next, the horse of the auxiliary, Joe Stidman, who volunteered 226 and a half hours.
That's a lot of hours.
And Heidi Tynert, who volunteered 103 hours. These two aren't here.
Going to read them.
Yeah, I'll read them off, and then we'll have this one. Not present tonight are Bob Willis, who volunteered 106 and a half hours, and Craig Zare, who volunteered 114 and a half. Accepting on behalf of the group is the captain, Art Netherton. The auxiliary as a group volunteered 2,029 and 1/2 hours last year.
I hope people realize how much this saves the community to have these fellows volunteering all this time. It's super helpful, I'll tell you. At this time, we'll entertain anyone who'd like to make a public comment. There being none, I will ask any of the trustees who would like to remove something from the consent agenda to speak up.
The consent agenda consists of
Approval of the minutes, approval of the bills, ordinances, resolutions, and other business. The other business includes acceptance of a temporary construction easement for a bike trail extension. Looks like nothing's going to be removed.
Need a motion to approve?
Please, so moved.
Second.
Newhouse.
excuse me. Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes. Next is an item that I'd like to present, and that is one of the fun privileges of being president of the village is you get to make some important appointments. One of the most important is for our representation on the Economic Development Commission. I think it's pretty obvious why I'd like Steve Newhouse to stay on. It provides continuity. It provides somebody on there who really understands what's going on, especially with the mayor going off. My choice of Sam Hare to replace the mayor is based on the fact that I think he has the skills and the personality to work with the kinds of companies that want to come to town. They want to talk to somebody who understands their language. I think Sam's the person, and I really appreciate his willingness to do this. I would entertain a motion to
So
accept
moved, Your
this.
Honor.
Second.
Roll call.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
The second item, appointing Sam Hare to monitor and manage the potential uses of farm and fleet, doesn't really call for a vote according to the city attorney, but I did want to bring it up because Sam has stepped up and is willing to take on this too. I think he's got the background and the talent to make sure this thing gets moving and to make sure that something happens with it and it doesn't just get on the back burner when we get so busy with other things. So I'm sure he's going to go out there and make sure something happens and keep us posted. And I just wanted to make sure everybody understood what we were going to do. And Sam, I wanted to thank you publicly for taking this on. I've been sort of loading stuff on you lately.
It's all right. Thank you. No problem.
Did you want to make any comments?
No, I'm excited to actually get, really roll my sleeves up and go to work on this and try to make it a win-win from all sides, especially for the community.
Thanks. Village clerk,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
administrator.
Tonight, I am asking for approval to transfer $64,000 from the general fund, which is our primary fund for the village, and $2,000 from the wastewater and water depreciation fund, which is a savings account that we use for the construction and replacement of infrastructure for our wastewater and water utilities. And I'm transferring that to the capital projects fund, which is where we account for all of the construction that takes place within the village.
Move approval, Your Honor, of the $66,161.42.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Chief,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
I think you've already done enough tonight. I'm really excited about this and really proud of the guys.
Well, they hopefully don't have too much work ahead of them for tonight, but they're monitoring the weather as we're here.
Counsel?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Public Works.
I have several items tonight. First one, Public Works recap for the month of April is in your packets. The next four items, I'm asking for your approval. The first of which is permission to request bids for the CCTV inspection crawler for the wastewater treatment department. You want me to go one?
Yeah, let's do them one at a time. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
A second.
Okay.
Who moved?
Sam and,
Randy moved.
actually, I thought it was
Tom,
Steve, but.
yeah.
Could you tell us a little more about it? You know, when I look at a project like this, I mean, you and I, you know, I'm not trying to sandbag anybody because we talked about this, but I think this kind of a device and this activity is so important to the city. I'd like you to describe it a little bit, why we need it.
Yeah, basically this equipment, we budgeted $105,000 for it. This will be our third televising camera. It's set up on a crawler type base. But over the last 20 years, we had our first one for 12 years, the next one for 11. Now we're starting to incur some repair costs, some problems with it. So basically what this does is our guys are out there. We're in the business of preventative maintenance. That's one thing great about Public Works in Morton. Our guys are catching things before they happen and it's emergency, where we're paying time and a half on a weekend. So we televise. Right now we're currently televising our sewers, a sixth of the sewers every year. So every 6 years we complete televising all the sewers in town, all the mains. Actually, per our EPA, we need to be at a third. That's not a requirement, but that's something we've stated in our long-term control plan. So we need to pick up that pace and start working on our storm sewers and televising those. It's so important to what we do to be able to plan these expenditures in the appropriate manner, obviously to save us costs long-term.
Well, you know, you and I talked about this. What happens if we don't do this?
If we don't do this, then it's kind of just I don't know the right word, cat and mouse game. Where's the problem's going to happen? With Public Works, the most expensive repairs are typically your sanitary. They're 10-foot deep, typically in the middle of the road. It would be an emergency repair. And when you dive into those, you're minimum $25,000 before you even step onto the job and fix it. Not to mention the problems you have, bar something happening backing up into somebody's basement. A lot of issues with sanitary sewer. So we're trying to catch things and plan them as we go.
Great.
But that $100,000 is really pretty cheap, because if we ever repave a road and then we have a sewer collapse later because we didn't inspect it, $100,000 won't begin to cover the expense of digging it up and turning up a brand-new road.
When you see some of our major capital projects like Washington Street this year, those are sanitary-driven projects. As you know, on Washington Street, the pavement was looking pretty bad the last couple of years. We're just kind of, we do push some of those off, and then it becomes time to replace a sewer. That's when we plan and do preventative maintenance to be able to do the whole street at one time. We replace the curb, the sidewalk, everything. Really saves us a lot of money. And, the village has done a great job over the last 25, 30 years on this. So I'd like to continue that.
So would I. Any other questions or comments? Call the question.
I was gonna make one mention here. We get a monthly report from the wastewater treatment department, and it's indicative really of what Craig is talking about in the sense of the equipment and the personnel that we have and being proactive. If you looked at the report, and it addresses the calls that we received and the addresses and the locations and the action taken. And invariably, every one ended up with the situation or the problem not being on the city's line. And it's unfortunate for the homeowner because it's their responsibility. But the point being is, time and time again, I think the actions that have been taken with the equipment and the people that we have and being proactive, I really appreciate receiving these monthly reports that we get, and it sort of tells the story right there.
Sorry, Randy. Anybody else have a comment or thought?
And one of the unsung heroes, Phil Rooker, is in the back there, the wastewater superintendent. So got to give a little credit to him. He does an excellent job.
Now you're a song hero.
That's right.
Call the question.
Okay, Herman,
Yes.
Kaufman,
Yes.
Newhouse,
Yes.
Belsley,
Yes.
Dobb,
Yes.
Hare.
Yes. Do we get a?
motion in a second?
Yeah, I move.
Second.
Okay.
All right, the next one, I'd like to ask for permission to request bids for the utility all-terrain vehicle, and this is for trunk line sewer work for the wastewater treatment department. This is kind of in conjunction with the new camera. Our old camera is not dead yet. It's just got a lot of repair costs. So what we'd like to do is kind of tied into what I just said. We do have, I think it's 14 miles of trunk lines. A lot of people don't even realize they're down there, but they run along creeks. We're always down in there repairing them. A lot of scouring, a lot of erosion issues expose these. We want to use this, we've rented them in the past, but we want to use this to get down and really start doing a good job of monitoring our trunk lines, and this will be a huge, huge help with that. So we intend to mount the old camera on a trailer and be able to attach it to this utility like a John Deere Gator to be able to access the trunk line. So I'd ask your permission for that.
Questions? Comments?
Move to approve. Move to approve.
It's already, I thought we
No, we
already had a
didn't have
motion.
one for this
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry, I thought we did.
Do I have a second? Okay. Kaufman.
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Item D.
All right, next one, I'd like to, got a proposal, I'd like to have your approval for acceptance of the proposal by Intech Services Incorporated for the HVAC upgrades at 200 South First Avenue, which is the new tourism building, in the amount of $19,780. I will say this cost, I've spent a lot of time with Intech. When we purchased this building, we knew at the time of purchase from the inspection that we would need to make these upgrades within the first couple of years. So although this seems like a significant cost here, we're trying to kind of clean up 30-plus years of furnaces and air conditioners in there at this time so that we could move forward and not have to tear out walls later.
And this is also paid for out of tourism funds,
It's
right?
paid for out of tourism.
So moved.
Second.
I can speak to the need for it. I went over and looked at the unit, and it's really needs replacing badly. But I have no sense of whether or not this is a good price. Can you kind of give me some comfort?
Yeah, basically the equipment in there right now is 2 furnaces. There's 2 rooftop airs, a water heater. When we're done, we'll clean it up. 1 rooftop air, 1 furnace. We have a tenant on the one side. We're going to combine some of the ductwork to include his, so we don't have to purchase 2 of everything again. But you're looking at about $9,000 is the equipment. There's about 60-plus hours of labor here to redo the ductwork and kind of clean that up. The thing I will stress to people, and I've worked with Susan throughout this, is we have to pay prevailing wage on these jobs. So, that does increase the price a little bit when you look at it here versus somebody on a residential side. If they're going to replace one, their air and furnace, you're talking minimum $8,000 there just for that. So, just the labor costs are probably $8,000 here. So we're not too far off. We've worked it down some over the last couple of weeks.
But you have an air conditioning unit to sit on top, and you have a brand-new rubber roof that has to be
Yes.
cut and patched.
Yes, and we probably have an extra 1,500 in a high efficiency, just because I think the tourism is going to be a lot of in and out. So that's been a recommendation by them that I've agreed to, just to make sure we don't have any issues as far as servicing that whole building.
We have a motion. Could we have the?
We have a motion and a second.
It's a vote.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley.
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Kaufman.
Yes.
Item E.
Last one, acceptance of bid for the 2013 street overlay program in the amount of $1,086,335.15, and award of contract for same to R.A. Cullinan and Son. And please note, included in that amount is $213,516.60 for work at McClellan and Northwoods Park to be reimbursed by the Park District. I will highlight, though, they have a meeting tomorrow night where they will probably, I think Gary Watson will ask for approval on that. This is our second consecutive year on working with the Park District on our overlay to incorporate some of their work with ours.
Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Randy, second. Any discussion, questions?
Just to make a note that amounts to about $873,000 worth of blacktop, and some of that is our concrete patching to go along with that.
Yes.
Call the question.
Belsley?
Yes.
Dodd?
Yes.
Hare?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Kaufman?
Yes.
Newhouse?
Yes. Planning and zoning.
Nothing done, Your Honor.
Village trustees. Trustee Belsley.
Yes, had one item, wanted to introduce ordinance number 13-01 regarding motorcycles, ATVs, mopeds, motor-driven cycles, off-highway motorcycles, and snowmobiles on residential property. And tonight, I'm bringing it or introducing the ordinance as a first reading, and what I would like to do, if it's the pleasure of the board, is to hold this over for consideration by the public and by the board, and then vote on this at a future meeting. But just some highlights, I guess, and to provide a little bit of background on the ordinance. Over the last couple of years, there's been a number of occurrences of individuals riding motorcycles, or really more commonly known or referred to as dirt bikes, on their residential properties. Some have been on developed property and some on undeveloped property. And it's just on a personal observation, I guess, with these occurrences, and also just knowing that the sport of motocross racing has grown or continued to grow in popularity with both youth and with adults. It's likely to be something we're going to encounter only more of in the future. And with that, I worked with Chief Hilliard and Trustee Steve Newhouse and Zoning Administrator Roger Spangler, and looking at this from an enforcement standpoint and what is the best measure and how to address it. And this, and Attorney Tom Davies, who is not here tonight as well, but this is the draft, the proposed ordinance that we came up with. And again, just I wanted to touch on a few of the highlights of it, if you will, to give you an appreciation of the intent or what we're wanting to accomplish here. But it specifically addresses, again, the use of motorcycles on private residential property. It's not limiting, restricting, prohibiting motorcycles otherwise on public streets and roads, and use otherwise. And the same with snowmobiles. I think probably all of us can vouch for occasions in the wintertime. We've seen snowmobiles on private property, and this would really be a part of this ordinance that it would prohibit that activity as well on private property, or residential property, I should say. However, what it does not restrict and will continue to use or allow is vehicles associated with customary lawn maintenance. That has been used and associated over the years with ATVs, typically, are a common lawn and garden maintenance type vehicle. And also another area that does not prohibit or restrict is vehicles associated with construction, repair, maintenance on residential property as well, the vehicles associated with that activity. Where it does allow this use is on RS properties of 5 acres or greater. And Morton doesn't have a zoning district per se titled specifically agricultural, but our residential suburban would be our agriculturally zoned properties. And so that is an acceptable use for that, but again, on those properties 5 acres or greater. So it tends to, again, try to restrict or limit this usage on smaller residential properties itself. Yeah, the ordinance is posted on the village's website for review by the public, and I think I'll open it up, I guess, if there's any other comments at this time, but I just wanted tonight initially introduce the ordinance and have it be under consideration by the public, and then we'll vote on this at a future meeting.
Any additional comment? I urge the public who's interested in this to get online and read it. It will probably come up again at the June 3rd meeting, so you want to read this and get your questions together.
That's it.
Trustee Dodd?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Trustee Hare?
Just that, again, we've done this a couple times in the past, that our thoughts and prayers go to the families in Oklahoma. I know it's pretty new news coming in for a lot of people with some extreme weather events that have happened there. And relating that back to the Village of Morton, I think at our last meeting, we did do an approval for a PA system that will be an early warning for the downtown area. So it was nice to see that we had that event and that we're going to try to take those precautions to protect our citizens. So.
And if you've seen on the TV going on right now in Moore, Oklahoma, is you look at the grade school site and all you see is hard hats. They're diving into the grade school from kindergarten to third graders trying to find the kids. They only had a few minutes notice and they got some real heartache going on there. So our prayers should be out to Moore, Oklahoma. And another town was hit too, like 3 hours ago. But this grade school, kindergarten through third grade, they got to find the kids.
Trustee Herman?
Thank you, Your Honor. 2 items tonight. First of all, the electric energy marketing push. I have some additional information since the last time we mentioned this, but recently there's been another push by mail and phone from alternative energy suppliers trying to lure residents away from the savings that they're currently experiencing as part of our municipal electric aggregation program. The vast majority of our Morton residents are participating in this aggregation program where we bundle with not only this community but other communities. And our supplier is Homefield Energy, and then they get their bill from Ameren. Anyway, I received one of these calls, and the first thing that they ask when they call is for your Ameren account number. And I, of course, did not give that to them, but I have found out that that is all they need to switch you over, is just your account number. They represent themselves as on behalf of Ameren, basically. But I said, are you with Ameren? And they said no. But if you don't know to ask that, they really kind of come across as asking if they can have your account number. And Ameren, Homefield Energy, and our consultant, Good Energy, are not making these calls. They're coming from other people. So if you give them your account number, they don't need your signature or anything. They can switch you over to a different supplier. And from what I understand and what they told me, their rates are not as good as what we're getting here currently. So if you give them your account and have given them your account number, and then you really don't want to be switched over, we recommend that you call the Ameren customer service number and tell them that you do not want to switch to a new supplier. Now, you're likely going to get a phone tree. You won't probably get a person that answers the phone initially, so you'll need to stay on the line and wait for the prompt that tells you to press 0 to talk to a person or something like that. So be patient. It's a very busy time. They're getting a lot of calls, and you will kind of need to be persistent, but I would just want people to know that they can contact Ameren and tell them no, they actually do not. If you gave them your account number, you'd probably get something from Ameren in the mail that said we're going to switch you, and then at that point you could call the customer service number, tell them you do not want to be switched. If you feel you've been taken advantage of, you can contact the Interstate Commerce Commission, and to maybe try to prevent future solicitation, you could enroll on the Do Not Call list. And I've asked Wendy to put those contact informations up on our website. But Wendy has informed all of our office at the front staff are aware of this situation and can help you. So if you're not sure what to do or what to tell someone, call the village office, 266-5361, and they can assist you and point you in the direction of who you need to talk to. We're not telling people not to switch, but from all accounts, the savings that you're getting through the Homefield Energy is significantly better than what they could offer. Any questions on that from anybody? Okay. My next item tonight is the tourism grant recommendations. The Tourism Grant Committee met and has made the recommendations that are in your packet for May 2013. They review all the applications, and then they have rated them on various criteria, including overnight hotel stays, generated restaurant traffic, whether or not this event will support other Morton businesses, such as the purchase of trophies and other supplies. They're scored bonus points, I guess you would say, higher points for if it's an inaugural event or if it's a repeat event, and they have filed follow-up reports so that we can track their information. Also, they're scored on the tangible impact that they would have on Morton, and specifically in like a building or facility improvement that might draw more people in the future, and also the economic impact to the village, with the goal being that we want to support events and help them grow, and then hopefully eventually they will become self-sustaining. So in your packets, oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. The money then is divided up based on the scoring system. Some organizations received 100% of funding for their, and some less, 90%, 80%, and so on. And so you have all that information provided here, and the reason those who did not receive 100%, their scoring sheets are in here, and it indicates why, in what areas they did not meet the maximum criteria. So for purposes of discussion, I will move to approve this as presented.
Second.
Are there any questions?
I have several.
Okay,
One is this is all tourism dollars, right?
correct.
Okay. And you said in your beginning, like it says here on the note, that this is to get these events growing, get them started, and to do something in the community. Some of these same events, they've been requested money, more money every year for 8 to 10 years. So are they ever going to be self-sustainable?
Well, I'll respond a little bit, and then I'll ask Susan to maybe enlighten us. The committee, I believe, looks at the need and the common sense of, now, they may get to the point where they are self-sustainable, but there are they may have an economic impact that's so great that it would be valuable to us to underwrite it if it would, benefit the village in the long run, as far as facilities coming back in, the money coming back into a measurable. Did you have a specific one, or Susan, would you like to comment on that? Oh, okay.
Okay, and I noticed that several of them, to get a halfway decent score, they all get 5s on purchasing items in Morton. And I do have some knowledge that some of these groups, is there an amount they have to purchase? Because some of them are going out of town and getting a lot of their stuff too.
Well, I think as far as that's,
They buy one trophy, is that considered buying in Morton? They get a 5?
I'll let Susan address that, but I think that the committee has tried to evaluate based on the reports that they turn back in at the end of the.
We have addressed all the groups and encouraged them to buy their trophies, and anything that they can get in town. We encourage them to buy in town. If there are some things that they might have to purchase that are outside of what we can provide here, then they do. But we really work closely to make sure that, the majority of what they're using. I do know in most of our instances on some of our groups, if they're talking about their concessions where they have to buy large quantities of hot dogs or whatever, we don't really have a supplier in an economic fashion here. They compete with Sam's or GFS, and some of those things are delivered to them. But we do really encourage, and a lot of our, in fact, I can tell you a couple of groups that were buying shirts and trophies off the internet because they could get them cheaper. Right. And we asked them to please go down and talk to Bill at Trophy Pro about what they were spending, and Bill has been great. To not necessarily, he can't maybe match that, but he gets really close. And so right now, I cannot tell you any I can tell you one, but for the majority of them, they are buying trophies at Trophy Pro. They are buying shirts either from Perfect Promotion or Grimm's. And so we do work with them on that.
Okay, you are monitoring that then?
Yes,
You're
we
not
are.
just taking their word?
No,
Okay.
yeah.
They actually, don't as far as the hotels go too, the hotels themselves actually fill out information
Yes,
sheets to
we
tell you
have-
how many people are coming through as well.
Yes, well, there are some banks that are set aside for events, so we kind of know that. And we also have a card that we ask everyone that comes to our hotels to fill out. Some people put a little more information than not, but even business travelers and stuff, so that we have a clear vision of who's staying in our hotels and what they're here for.
In
Susan,
that regard.
who are the members of the committee?
The members of the committee are Chris Delacath, Nathan Dominigini. Let me tell you what they did. Chris Delacath was asked because she was a restaurateur when she had joined the committee. Nathan Dominigini was a reporter, so he covered media and a lot of the events. Matt Nash, who is the manager of 3 of our hotels. Cheryl Nusky, who organizes a lot of events in our town, and Bruce Codet, who is operator of Pumpkin Glass, and so he's a retailer, and he is president of the Field Shopping Center organization. So we try to cover all of those bases. And actually, this group of people will do, I don't want to steal Ginger's.
Oh, it's okay, go ahead.
They will do one more round of grants, and then 2 of them are going to be replaced by a restaurateur, and our hotel manager are going to step aside. And then for another year, then we will replace 2 more, and then we'll begin in a rotation.
Thank you.
In regard to the hotel nights, Susan, I'm new to tourism, so I'm just getting up to speed, but Susan pointed out that it's not just hotel room, it has to be a Morton hotel that they stay at. A lot of times they'll just fill out the card, and yes, hotel night, so she's been really trying to monitor that too, and verify that they actually are staying in Morton hotels.
Any other questions, Tom?
No, I'm
Okay.
just curious.
Thank you,
Is that
Susan.
it? Trustee
That's
Herman?
all. I've got a motion on the floor, so for approval.
Second on this.
Was there
Mr. Kaufman seconded.
yeah. Call the question.
Okay, Dodd?
Yes.
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 Hare?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Kaufman?
Yes.
Newhouse?
Yes.
Belsley?
Yes.
Thank you, that's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Trustee Kaufman?
Nothing in that, Your Honor.
Trustee Newhouse?
2 items, Your Honor. In your packets, if you look, you will see a Village of Morton application for electrical permit. Mr. Spangler, during the course of review with a couple of projects, has noted that our electrical permit fees are consistent and competitive with our other permit fees and with other communities up to about $20,000. And at that point, the charge is $500 plus $4 per thousand, over $20,000. And after the observation of the cost impact on projects and kind of looking at other communities and what is fair consideration, has recommended that we revise that cost downward to be consistent with other communities. And one of the reasons for that is that in Morton, the policy has always been to charge what is a fair fee for the work done. We don't use it as a revenue-producing medium for the village. We basically recover the cost of administrating the fee and whatever supervision has to go with it. So I will ask Mr. Spangler if there's any other detail that we should discuss. Otherwise, I will make a motion, and I need guidance from the attorney on whether or not we need an ordinance to do this, or is this
You should need an ordinance
Okay.
unless, I don't believe your fees are established in your village code.
Okay, right.
So I think by motion.
That's
vote.
what I thought. Okay, so, Mr. Spangler, any other detail?
No, you summed it up
after I had a particular permit come into my office, I looked at that check amount and I thought, boy, that's a lot of money. And then I did the math on what my inspector was gonna get paid, and I thought, he'd have to work there for 3 solid weeks and not do anything else. And I thought, something's not right here. So I kind of played with some numbers, but in the time that we've done electrical inspection, we've had some sizable jobs, but nothing anywhere near the size that this one was. So I think we should look at that. I don't want somebody to have a bad taste in their mouth when they have to send us a check for their electrical permits. So, $2 seems to fit in the area, so I think that would be a reasonable fix.
It covers our cost, but it's a fair and reasonable price. And to the extent we've got anybody that's been overcharged in this case, we'll remit the difference. Okay.
So
All
what
right.
are we actually doing here? Are we?
Lowering it to $2.
Okay.
I think this is great. Do you want to
No.
vote to, we can adopt this by vote of the?
Yes. Yes, we do not require.
Do we have motions?
I need
I'm
a
about-
second.
I'll second
Get a
it.
second?
Second from Mr. Hare.
Okay, call the question.
Do you want to do this by a voice vote, or do you? Voice vote rather than a roll call?
Well, yeah. No, roll call is fine.
A roll call?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, do a roll call.
Hare,
Yes.
Herman,
Yes.
Kaufman,
Yes.
Newhouse.
Yes.
Belsley,
Yes.
Dobb.
Yes.
Okay, item number 2. Again, if you will look in your packets, we have request for approval to waive a requirement for Creekwood Apartments. That's the letter that you see here. And this is a kind of a peculiar circumstance in which, when the buildings were built in the 1970s, the setback requirement of 300 feet is measured and documented as it was sometime later when a bump out was added to the building. The building is now changing hands. The property was surveyed. The lot line falls at 295 feet, and the difference between the 295 and the 300 that was originally measured and then apparently documented again in the 80s when the addition was made is basically inexplicable. However, there is a fix for it, and in our code, 1191, there is a provision for building setbacks, especially where you have land near or adjacent to Commonwealth Edison Company electric transmission lines, makes it possible for the trustees to grant a waiver. I want to make a sharp distinction here. This is not an encroachment on property. Last meeting, we discussed a situation where there was an encroachment on property and we required compliance, but this is not a compliance issue. It's on private property. So, again, I don't think that any ordinance is required. My understanding, we have the authority in the special restrictions to do it, and in order to facilitate the sale and whatever further legal action there be on the property, we need to grant a waiver and it deals with that 5 feet. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
I have no notification that there's anything needed to go into closed session, and so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
I want to use this. Good.